Hello, welcome to Silver Trails History and Haunting. Seeing as it's such a wonderful day, we're going to do something different today. We're going to do a walk up over King Hill, which used to be called King Extended. To start the walk, we're here on Wilson Street. You can see the Cecil in the background. Here's our town hall. We're going to continue down Wilson Street to the junction of Shield Street and turn left on the Robinson. And we're going to end up the top of here. Believe it or not, there used to be houses up on top of there. So here we are at our first intersection. We've just come from up here. There's our town hall and the Cecil in the background. Just out of interest, this suburb of Zeehan used to be called King's End back in the old days because of, obviously, it's the end of King Hill. So now we go up Robinson Street here and cross Main Creek, or what's now called Peacehoop Creek. Here we are at our next intersection. We're just leaving Robinson Street. We've crossed over Peacehoop Creek just there. Out over here used to be the old railway tracks. There used to be a 2-foot gauge railway that goes out to Williamsford, and the 3'6" line that either went to Dundas or up to Emu Bay in Burnie. The old bridge in that was burnt out in one of the old bushfires, and all the old railway station and everything was right down through there, covering all what are now the courts. So now we're going to head up this road, and how many of you locals know that this is actually called Anderson Street? As we make our way up the hill, you can stop off at several locations to see the view. Behind me you can see a view of what we've called East Zeehan. You can also have a good shot of Mount Zeehan, named after one of Abel Tasman's ships. So here we are on the top of King Hill. Now from here we've got some really good views. So if you look over there in the far distance, you can see the mountain that looks like it's been stripped of all vegetation. Now that's Mount Owen. That's where all the Queenstown mountain bike trails are. So if you're coming down for mountain biking, it's a short hop over here to have a look at ours. So as we pan back around, we can look down in our valley here. You can see the marks going all the way through the button grass. They're the railway tracks leaving town. It's the 3'6" line and the 2-foot line side by side. They go all the way out as far as Melba Flats where they divide. Up here we have Mount Dundas. There was a township up around this area that used to service the old Hercules mine. As we make our way around, so we'll make our way along King Hill this way. Here's the old headstock out of the Farrell mine. That was from Tulla. It was moved here as an army exercise for the engineers. They stripped it all down, flew it here in their helicopters and put it all back together again. Just over here on Una Hill, you can see the squiggly line coming down it. That's the bottom half of our mountain bike track. Very good track. It's like a green-blue. Very, very much a lot of fun. So as we make our way along King Hill, we'll find a lot of old mining infrastructure like this. It was actually placed here by the museum. Now this is one of the old towers from the aerial bucket line that was from Williamsford to Rosebery. That's after the 2-foot line that we talked about going out to Williamsford closed down, and then they started shipping their ore not to Zeehan but over to Rosebery. And as we come back around this way, we get a much better shot of the Farrell headstock. We're about halfway along the hill now. Up until now we've been following the power lines. So the road's very well marked as long as you stick to the power lines up to this point here. power lines go down the hill, we keep on going along the hill, but the track is very well marked, you won't get lost. So as we pan back around, you see right out there in the distance, that's an XC trail for you mountain bikers, that's the Hauntings trail. And back here we have another view of the Una downhill trail. The mountains up behind Una, the flat top one is the Hauntings. That's named after another one of Abel Tasman's ships. Beside that is Mount Agnew. And we keep on panning back around to where we have a good shot of West Zeehan. Now this used to be the industrious sort of end of Zeehan. Had a lot of shops there and there was a lot of old mines down in this area as well. The little hill in the background was Manganese Hill, quite a few mines across that. And then we're back up to Mount Zeehan. And if we go down a little bit further, we can see just where we've come from. There's the headstock again. Okay, here we are on the very highest point of King Hill. It's double track all the way. It's a pretty easy walk with a few really steep pinches to it. So I think anyone with like a moderate fitness would be able to make this walk, even with a couple of little rest breaks or anything like that. So don't be scared of this walk. Again, we can see the three power poles that I told you we were following. As we pan around, we've got West Zeehan again. And just down here in the scrub, that's where the Zeehan caravan park is. So anyone staying there, that's a good reference. And this road that follows all the way up this way, right up to our water supply. One of our more prominent mines, the Western, is just on the other side of that hill. The Western had its own water supply in 1893, it owned two of its own locomotives, and it had a railway connection all the way down to the Zeehan tram lines. We're all the way down off King Hill now. About to turn around and go back down the Dunkley tram line that I showed you, but there's the track coming down off King Hill. That's the only dodgy part of the whole track. It's very loose and you have to be sure of your footing to come down that way. Just take your time and it won't hurt you. So moving back up around this way, Up here is the Zeehan town water supply. If you can see a clump of rushes right up the other end, that's where the old Dunkley tram line used to go and come out the other side. Now that's obviously before this was flooded. This was flooded by the council to produce a water supply for Zeehan. It was named after the warden at the time, so this is actually called Lake Fisher, after the warden Captain Fisher. And down this end is the actual dam wall. Now that's called Parting Creek Dam Wall, after the creek that was dammed. It was called Parting Creek. So here's another view of Lake Fisher. Over in the background here you can see the yellow walkway. That's the actual spillway on the dam wall. Back many years ago, the valve to the dam wall was actually damaged and we lost a lot of water out of the dam, and that's when we could see the old Dunkley tram line from over here all the way around the lake and back up the other side. It was so low that you could actually walk up it. Okay, if you really don't want to do the walk, you can drive up the Dunkley tram line and bring your family along to Lake Fisher. It is stocked with trout. You do need a fishing licence. You can use little paddle boats and things on the surface. I really wouldn't recommend it for swimming. There's a lot of old dead timber and stuff in there. For those of you that's not used to water on the west coast, the colour of the water is stained by tannin out of button grass. There's no pollution or anything in that water. It's totally fresh. easy to be drunk, as I've just demonstrated. We've just left the dam. We're now on the Dunkley tram line, so the rest of our walk is going to be flat and level, easy walking. As you can see, we've got Mount Zeehan in the background again. Very dominant thing all the way around Zeehan. You can see it all the time, so you can use it for a landmark. You'll never ever get lost in Zeehan. Over to the side here, a bit of historical information. This is where the old rifle range used to be in Zeehan. So Zeehan's had all sorts of gun clubs, all the way back from military gun clubs to every sort of recreational shooting that was known to man. Up on top of the hill, you can see the track we just walked. So we're more than halfway through and we're heading back into the centre of town. So here we are, just coming back into Zeehan. It's the end of the Dunkley tram line. Directly behind us, where those trees are, is the caravan park. So here we are at the end of our walk. We're on the end of Hurst Street and Main. The walk has taken us about 2 hours 15 minutes, but we've stopped quite regularly to do videos and little offshoots and things like that. So I could think you could make this walk quite comfortably in an hour and a half to 2 hours. So if you walk up through Main Street, we've got a lot of old heritage buildings that are well worth a look at. And if you call into the Heritage Centre and Museum, it's probably one of the best museums in Tasmania, if not Australia. So it's well worth the effort to go in and have a look.